Okay, ladies and gents, welcome. It's time for some more wrestling chat here on CM42 TV. I feel like I've been chatting wrestling all week because on Sunday just there, I posted a video launching my brand new wrestling podcast. That's right. Not only can you hear me talk about wrestling every week here on CM42 TV, but the plan is now every Sunday for the foreseeable, we're going to be doing a wrestling podcast entitled The Wrestling Connection. And it is available on all podcasting outlets. And what I mean by that is, iTunes, which is kind of like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Podbean, Pocket Casts, Breaker, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. Where else? Loads of places. Go check it out. If you like wrestling, if you're an old wrestling fan, a new wrestling fan, a casual fan, if you're a diehard like me, go check it out. You'll find something to relate about. You know, that's kind of the kind of gig of the podcast. It's meant to be the wrestling connection means, you know, ways that wrestling connects us all. So if you've ever liked wrestling, you've ever watched wrestling, you've ever liked a wrestler, go check out a podcast. You'll like it. It's on YouTube as well, by the way, on a separate channel. I was going to post it here, but I thought I'm going to let people try and go and find it. You feel awful close to me today, this week. I'm sorry. I don't want you to be too close to me. So because of that, I feel a bit wrestled out, if I'm honest. I feel like I've chatted about it for so much because the first episode was called How We Became Wrestling Fans. It's myself and my mate Glenn, and we tell our stories long form, how we became wrestling fans. And because I've been doing that all week, I've been editing it, I've been trying to promote it and get separate clips to upload to social media and separate clips to upload to YouTube and that sort of thing. I feel like I've been thinking about wrestling all week. We also had a very famous WWE announcer, WWE/ESPN announcer /XFL announcer, do a wee intro for us. So if you've listened to the podcast, you know who it is. In fact, I uploaded it yesterday. It's the coach, Jonathan Coachman, which is surreal because he commentated, you know, numerous WrestleMania main events and title matches and historic moments, and he's been on all these promos with The Rock, and he hosted all these TV shows and hosted all these sort of WWE DVDs and that sort of thing over the years. It's just a bit surreal to hear him introduce my new podcast and like say my name and that sort of thing. It was pretty cool. So Jonathan Coachman, and by doing that, we actually, by booking him to do that video, we helped a organ donation company, charity I should say, because this organ donation charity helped and saved his dad's life last year. So the coach now does these videos to raise money for that sort of thing. I think now he's raising the money for the quarantine stuff, but usually it's for the organ donation stuff. So it's really, really cool. It was on Cameo, so go check that out as well. Coach is a class act. Anyway, in terms of wrestling this week, I feel like it's been a quiet week in terms of like wrestling itself. Big week for me because of the podcast. But then I remembered last week we had the death of Howard Finkel. Really sad day losing the Fink. And then the day before that, it was the mass WWE releases. And then a couple of days ago, they announced that Money in the Bank is now going to be taking place inside the Titan Towers. It's going to be taking place inside WWE headquarters, and the briefcase is going to be on the roof. That is like the sort of stuff you do, you know, when you're playing wrestling figures. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like a ladder match, but you put the belt on top of the table or something, and like the wrestling figures have to try and figure out how to get up there. But no, it's real life. And at first, a lot of people were kind of being like, they can't do this. It's not the Money in the Bank. It's not a ladder match. You know, that's not the rules of a ladder match. But I think it's going to be great. I mean, think about the possibilities here. Think about the way they shot the Boneyard match and the Firefly Funhouse match. Every time I say Firefly Funhouse match, I always stumble. The Firefly Funhouse match at WrestleMania. It was so like, not only was it well done, but like they thought about each individual shot really well. Do you know what I mean? They didn't just go, alright, we'll do this. It was like, okay, we'll do this and then we'll cut to this camera and then we'll do this and we'll have this shot of AJ's face. If you think about this, so it's going to be 6 people? 6 or 7 people in these Money in the Bank ladder matches, so it's going to be male and female. And I think that kind of, I'm all for that, having the both genders, you know, but I kind of wish it was just the females, I just wish it was just the males, because it'll kind of take away the novelty of the second match. You know, the first one will happen and you'll get all these really cool, funny shots of people in the lift and running down the corridor, and there's going to be people like doing paperwork that are going to get in the road, and like papers are going to get ripped up and thrown in people's face, and folk are going to get thrown through, you know, windows and tables and that sort of thing. But that'll all be done in the first match, and then the second Money in the Bank ladder match will happen, or not even ladder match, Money in the Bank contract match will happen later in the show, and we'll have seen everything, you know. And I'm assuming it's just going to take place, like the general matches are going to take place at the Performance Centre, like Seth and Drew, and whatever other matches we get. But it's going to be interesting. So far we have Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, Apollo Crews, and Alistair Black. They're the ones that have qualified so far for the male one. I think Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, and who else was it? Was it Ruby Riott or was it Liv Morgan? I can't remember the result of that match, but there's been some qualifiers anyway, and they're starting to build their field there. So it's going to be really fun. It's going to be different, and I just hope someone doesn't obviously not, but someone goes to take a bump off the top of the headquarters. Like, God, take it easy. Thank God Shane McMahon's not in this second match, or Jeff Hardy. Maybe Jeff will be in it. Maybe he's still qualifying. Maybe he'll come out to no more words. That would be a dream. Don't know. So yeah, Money in the Bank is going to be crazy. Drew as champion is just a delight so far. He came out on Raw last night and he got the camera and he went, "Hey you cool cats and kittens," with that weird accent that I refuse to admit is my own. So I've always been a big Drew McIntyre fan, obviously because of sentimental reasons and just because I've met him a bunch of times, and he's just a good guy, and I think he's one of the best wrestlers, and not necessarily wrestlers, but best performers in the whole company. And I think, someone who's worked so hard and someone who's so passionate about it and literally wants to take the company on his back and run with it, wants that opportunity, should be champion every day of the week. So good stuff. Happy for Drew, and him and Seth will have a good one. I just wish the fucking crowds were there, but I feel like it was announced in the UK that there's another 3 weeks of lockdown at least here. And I just, for some reason, maybe it's because I'm used to the quarantine now, and I'm kind of used to my routine of watching TV all day and not doing anything, not going out my house. But I guess I feel like I'm coming to the end game a little bit with this, or we're all coming to the end game, and it's probably not true. We're probably going to have another 2 months of this. But it seems because we're used to it and we've already got over that first kind of hurdle, it's like now, okay, it's going to be soon, everything's back to normal, people are going to get back to work, and restaurants are going to open again and that sort of thing. So in my head, I'm thinking Money in the Bank, after that, the crowds will be back. That's not the case at all, So very, very interesting time we're in right now, that's to say the least. Other thing I wanted to mention this week, other than the podcast, is the releases that happened last week. So they released a bunch of people as a cost-cutting thing, and I totally understand, because of all they were expecting all this revenue from WrestleMania and from all these live gates and things like that. And that's obviously been a total disaster. And of course the XFL stuff, I believe the original commissioner of the XFL is suing the company. So a lot of money is kind of on the table, and money that was expected to go into bank accounts aren't going into bank accounts. And I guess they're just kind of panicking a little bit. And, they released a lot of kind of underneath guys and girls and writers that you don't really hear from. Apparently the writer of the Mandy Rose and Otis storyline gets sacked, and I thought that was a really entertaining storyline. I don't know what else that person could have done. I thought that was actually a really fun story and a big part of WrestleMania, But all these people get sacked, and then they released folk like Rusev and Gallows and Anderson and Mike Bennett, Mike Kanellis. And if you remember, those 4 names are people that asked for the release and the revival, asked for the release ages ago, and then WWE were like, no, you're not getting your release, we'll just double your contracts. And they had these massive 5-figure deals in their contracts, and they were expecting fully to honour that, but now the fact they've lost all this money and they're not getting the revenue, they're thinking, oh, we can't honour these 5-figure contracts to Mike Kanellis. Do you know what I mean? And they just kind of went, all right, well, if you want your release, you can take it. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think, I guess when you would expect, if you're Carl Anderson and you have all these Waynes and this big house and stuff, he always goes on about how he's rich. He's expecting to continue being rich, and then all of a sudden, when we're out of the contract, he needs to kind of rely on other means of income. And for some reason, I think Gallows and Anderson, the Revival and Rusev will all be fine, because I think there's another big wrestling company out there that will take them. And I don't think AEW should take everybody, because that would be ridiculous. It's always like a revolving door. But they should take Rusev, my God, who was so over. I can't believe WWE never pulled the trigger on Rusev. He had that title match against AJ, I think it was Extreme Rules, 2019 or 18. 18? God, they're all running together now. But Rusev had a title match at a pay-per-view, and he was red hot, and it was that Rusev Day thing. And you thought this could be a big heel or a big face, preferably a big face, because everybody loves him, and he just comes off as such a likeable guy. They release him. He's going to be a massive star. He'll be great in Japan as well. But I reckon AEW need to get him, because he's a big guy. He's got a name. He's got a lot of experience. He's genuinely likeable. He's someone that AEW should grab, as well as Deonna Purrazzo. Did she get released? She's someone like that as well. Like, got a bunch of experience, genuinely cares, and is really likeable. She's a great a wrestler, and would be a great addition to AEW's women's division that really needs some star power really. So that's that one. Chris Hero, Cassius Ohno, released again. I read a tweet that was summed up really well. Did WWE actually hire Chris Hero at the peak of his, popularity when he had so much buzz, do absolutely nothing with him for 2 years and just release him out of nowhere? Yes, they did, twice, and that's what's happened. They've done it twice to Chris Hero, one of the best wrestlers, I was going to say of all time, but in history of independents moving to NXT. He's one of the originators of that, and just what a great performer, and just not done anything with, He would be another huge addition to AEW because of all his experience and that sort of thing. He's someone that they should definitely go after. Gallows and Anderson, great pals with Omega and, the Bucks and people like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they end up there. And then, of course, there's, what's their face? Oh, feckin' Drake Maverick, Rockstar Spud. That was a heartbreaker. Someone who has been just constantly entertaining for a whole year. And they've been like, we're doing this 24/7 title thing. And when there's so many people who have been like, there's been two people who have taken that opportunity and went, do you know what, let's make something out of this. One was R-Truth and one was Drake Maverick. They were the people who went, okay, this is a kind of a daft idea, but let's do something with it, let's make something out of it. And they have, and they just were excellent at everything they did. Excellent at their roles. And Drake Maverick's just putting everything on the line for a whole year, making this title entertaining as possible. Boom, gone. And that one seemed like he was very comfortable. He didn't want to go anywhere. He loved being in that position. He was thriving. Everybody knew he was a great performer. He got lots of TV time, and he was relying on that paycheck, and just unceremoniously sacked because of cost cutting. He didn't have a big, surely Drake Maverick didn't have a big contract, The other ones were Hawkins and Ryder. That was another big one. I was like, I can't believe Zack Ryder has finally gotten released. There's been so many days where it's been all those mass releases, and Zack Ryder somehow managed to overcome it and not be released. The other one is Heath Slater, who's gone as well. Crazy. I'm saying these out loud for the first time, and I'm like, my God, they're all gone. Heath Slater, another incredible performer, another really entertaining guy, someone who was given a bunch of ridiculous things and just ran with them, That's all you can ask for, in WWE. So those are some big names. So I think Hawkins and Ryder will probably end up in AEW as well, because Ryder is a good friend. Ryder is good friends with Cody Rhodes, isn't he? So that may happen as well. So they're going to probably take AEW. Going to probably take a bunch of folk, which is good for their business, but also you kind of want to kind of separate some of it. The only thing I was going to say is I understand the cost cuttings and that sort of thing. However, we are in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, and I think how many more months is this going to last for? 3 months maybe. I understand that people are going to release them, and they're going to get released and that sort of thing, and I'm sure they would have been released eventually. But could you not have waited 3 months till this is all back to normal, and then when you release the people that you genuinely seem to care about and have employed for so many years, then when they're released, then they can actually go back to work? Because now they've been released and they're sitting at home with no paycheck and no work or anything, just like a bunch of everybody else. They were kind of safe, the fact they're in those contracts. Did they have to release those contracts now, when people are losing their jobs in real life and there's no businesses running? I thought that was a bit of a harsh move, and I thought, can you not keep the contracts going for a couple more weeks, months, for people like Drake Maverick and Heath Slater and Mike Kanellis and that sort of thing? But yeah, a lot of them are going to thrive in this situation. A lot of them are going to be fine. I don't think they'll need to worry. So yeah, good stuff. I wish them all the best of luck in their future endeavours. And that obviously is a joke a bunch of times, but it's true. You do wish them luck. You do wish them all good health and they do well and that sort of thing, and continue to provide for their families. So yeah, that's all. Just wanted to talk about the podcast a little bit more. Money in the Bank on top of Titan Towers, and of course all the releases. That's the kind of buzz in wrestling this week. And remember, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at CM42TV every day here on CM42TV on YouTube. And my new wrestling podcast, The Wrestling Connection. Episode 1 dropped on Sunday, episode 2 coming up this upcoming Sunday. So please tune in, download, give us a shot, let us know what you think. We are dying for some feedback, so let us know. Until next time, folks, thanks very much. Take care of yourselves. I'll speak to you all in the next video.